Hello, Wisdom in Progress fans. This is Ray Kennedy, and I'm going to read my latest post, which is actually a collection of poems. I call it Poems from the Journey, a collection. 5 poems on loss, love, purpose, friendship, and wonder. I've been writing poetry for years, often tucking it away either in my journal or in corners of this Substack where they don't get much attention. Today, though, I want to bring some of these pieces into the light. These 5 poems span the terrain I keep returning to. The people who shape us, the relationships that challenge us, the question of purpose that haunts us, the friendships that sustain us, and the everyday wonder we so often miss. Consider this a small anthology of the inner work. First poem is called The Heron, or Hello, Dad. The first time I saw you as a heron, I was running on the Broad Ripple Canal, deep in thought and worry. Running was my therapy, my best way to pray. Although I didn't know it then, you'd been dead a few years, Dad. I missed you achingly, and it wasn't going away. You were always my biggest fan, there when needed throughout my life. Before you died, though, we were becoming more. I was more vulnerable and open, and you were like a wise friend, asking the questions, being less of a directive father. And then you were gone. A heron was a strange choice. Most would have guessed a bear, standing tall, occasionally growling loudly, arms open wide in the proverbial bear hug. A heron is a skinny bird, quiet, still, often balancing on one leg. Skinny, quiet, and yoga-like were not you, and you were only still when you were napping. But I guess a bear in the city wasn't going to work. And yet that day I saw the heron, I recognized you. We were both standing still, and you saw me. Not the sweaty shorts and t-shirt clad guy trying to catch his breath, but the young father, the oldest sibling, the struggling man, suddenly alone and confused about life. You, as the heron, saw me, and in that moment a weight fell away, and I knew I'd be okay. You visited me since that day, on a frigid, muddy path in North Carolina during a sad and lonely time, on a boat in Key West, seeking joy after a painful divorce, on our dock at the lake, honoring you at Big Ray Fest, and many, many times since in daily life, when I needed to know that I am unconditionally loved. 21 years going, I welcome the heron's visits. But I wonder, how will you hug me when I see you in heaven? The next poem is called Two Souls. 2 souls, wounded in different ways, arrived at the same destination via long journeys of knowing there must be more. What began as friendship evolved to love, perhaps, filling a heart gap that had been half full, trusting that finally this could be my soulmate. But being human, the lacerations of the past resurfaced. Old scabs accidentally rubbed off, scars returning like house guests of traumas past. Some scrapes were curatively recognized, treated, and eventually healed. Others, though, festered, as the toxins within were never cleaned out. Sore and visible, like tattoos of regret, those shadowed bruises became the reapers in our fields, felling the chaff before the wheat could be harvested. And so we lost the gift of sensing, that harsh words, distant gazes, or just silence are signs that someone is disheartened, under attack from within. A soul struggling mightily to be the person they imagined in their childhood, redeemed not through effort, but by mercy and grace alone. Yet when we decided to look away from the other's woundedness, we allowed their shadowed darkness to obscure their singular light. we relinquished the sacred power entrusted to human hearts alone, to alter the course of two lives through the act of forgiveness. The next poem is called Purpose Serves Us. Our life's purpose is hard to craft. We're told it's our gift to the world to give. The quest to discovery grows in life's second half, a holy grail, the buried treasure that proves elusive. In our first half, we achieve, accumulate, and assume control, building a glorious monument to ourselves, a resume. But as life's facade falters, we're drawn to our soul and wonder, will we still want to hear our own eulogy? God put the chrysalis between caterpillar and butterfly to serve us, though we humans abhor liminal space and its tension. When we can shed ego, earn, and deserve, what's left is service. But how to serve? Start by curiously living the question. Purpose finds us when we quiet our mind to hear. As Rumi said, walk on the way and the way will appear. This next poem is called In the Second Country. We have arrived at the second country of our lives, where friendship is no longer about the urgency of shared ambitions or the bright fever of becoming, but about the steady presence that requires no performance, no proof. There is a different kind of fire now, not the blaze that announces itself, but the banked coals that have learned to burn unless to last through winter. And the last poem is called Awe. In the midst of a world in your face, we often miss the common grace, where awe resides at every turn, if only we pause and simply learn. To gaze upon the world anew, without judgment or prayerful view. To see the flowers in the cracks, to feel the sun's warmth upon our backs. The intricate sunbeams in every nook, the stories etched in our neighbors' looks. The altars thick with divine delight, revealed when we embrace our sight. Little awe, a daily quest, to find amazement, to be blessed. In moments mundane, often missed, when presence is the catalyst. To be a bridegroom wed to surprise, to hold the world with open eyes. To be a witness to the beauty at hand, and find the sacred where we stand. So let us seek, with hearts unfurled, the awe that awaits us in this world. And in the seeking may we discover a life transformed by God, our lover. So these poems originally appeared separately in Wisdom in Progress. And if one resonates with you, I'd love to hear which one and why in the comments. And of course, you can subscribe if you'd like to get more of these poems or posts to Wisdom in Progress. Thank you.